Joliet, Illinois, and Joliet Memorial Stadium. Apologies, we had some technical difficulties getting started today, but don't worry, you didn't miss too much. We're 3 minutes into the action right now, 42 minutes to play in the first half as St. Francis takes on Roosevelt in men's soccer today. And no score at the moment, not too many strong attacks up to this point, really not any strong attacks, although the Fighting Saints have been pretty impressive out of the gate in terms of just holding possession. They've been on that side of the field for the majority of these first 3 minutes. The Saints are in white with gold numbers, and they've got possession right now. Dribbling into the box, taking a shot, and scoring. We are underway with a goal for the Fighting Saints. Malik Rashid puts one in at 41 minutes and 33 seconds to play in the first half. And I guess we got things worked out here just in time as St. Francis captures a 1-0 lead. I mentioned it's been a good showing by St. Francis right out of the gate here, just in terms of holding on to possession and keeping it on that side of the field. They haven't really got many good shots off yet, but that all changed with Malik Rashid. The Red Sea parted for him, and he was able to just work his way straight through the defense into the box, had only the goalkeeper to beat, and he did that with a nice shot into the left side corner. So it's 1-0 St. Francis. This is the fourth consecutive game in which the Saints have struck first. They are 1-1-1 in their previous three, so the early goal doesn't always spell success necessarily. But off to a good start today. I'd rather be up 1-0 than down 1-0 as Roosevelt is called for the offsides. Roosevelt playing just their third game of the season. They're trying to get on track after dropping their first two. St. Francis along the far sideline pushes it up to midfield. And taken away by the Lakers. Roosevelt in black with green numbers and going from right to left on your screen. So far this season, Roosevelt has been outscored by a combined total of 9-3 in their two games. They make it 10-3 now as we've started their third game, so tough start to the season for them. And a tough start to this game as they try to turn things around. Still very early. We're exactly 5 minutes into the action. 1-0 St. Francis. The goal was scored by Malik Rashid in the 4th minute of play. Fighting Saints continue to push their way forward at the midfield. Moving off to the right side. And pushed ahead along the sideline. Muscled off the ball down into the corner. And it is forced out along the back line. And not a quick indication, but it looks like it was last touched by Roosevelt. So it's going to be a corner kick for St. Francis from the near side corner. Or a free kick, actually. Looks like we had a foul called. They're still around the corner, but they'll pull it up about 15 yards off the end line. So free kick here for the Fighting Saints, who already lead 1-0. 39 minutes to play in the first half. Kick is sent in front of the net, headed away by the defense. And the flag is up for offsides, I believe, against St. Francis. So it's a free kick here for Roosevelt. Lakers moving from right to left, down along the sideline, pushed back towards the defense. And from the goalkeeper's box, moved to the far side of the field. Deliberate start to this possession for Roosevelt, just trying to keep the ball away from St. Francis. Unsuccessful though as the Saints take it away. Here they go, working into the box once again. There's a shot and another goal. The Saints take a 2-0 lead with 38 minutes, 15 seconds to play in the first half. Their second goal in just under 7 minutes of play. The goal scored by Archimedes Bataz. That's Shkichenko, excuse me. Zakar Shkichenko scores the goal. And that makes it 2-0 St. Francis. So Malik Rashid got things started with his second goal of the season. And for Shkidchenko, that is number 1 for the year. He had 1 assist, and now he's got a goal to go along with the assist. Shkidchenko tries to pass it to the middle of the field once again, but it's taken away by Roosevelt. Great start for the Fighting Saints as they lead 2-0 after just 7 minutes of play. I mentioned before that they have scored first in their last 3 games coming into today, but had only won 1 of those 3 games. But scoring the first 2 goals is usually a recipe for success. It's a great start today as the Lakers try to make their way along the near sideline, deflected out of bounds. Santos Contreras tossed back in defensively. It's a cool, wet March day today, but significantly better conditions than we would have had yesterday. Snow has been cleared away at midfield. A little shove given by a St. Francis defender to the Roosevelt midfielder. And so the free kick restarts things for the Lakers. They're going to move it back, make sure things are set up before they get their free kick here. Here's the approach from midfield. Ball sent towards the box and deflected back by the Fighting Saints. Sheet at midfield, works it ahead for Shkidchenko, chasing it down the near sideline. He stayed on sides. He's the first one to get there in the corner, sliding and knocking it away out of bounds. Roosevelt will get the chance to bring the rest of their defense back for a corner kick here. So the Saints get their first corner kick of the game. They had a free kick from near that corner a little bit ago, but this time they're actually down in the semicircle. And taking the kick is Sergio Perez. There's the kick from Perez to the back post and headed away by Roosevelt. Well defended. Can they clear it? There it is, the clearance out towards midfield. Roosevelt makes their way forward. This is Anthony Aldape passing off to his right, deflected away, and cleared again by St. Francis. Fighting Saints push their way downfield once again. Ball moved ahead, well out in front of everybody. Marmolejo tried to chase it down. Came up just a little bit short though as the ball goes out along the sideline just in front of the corner, and it's a throw in for Roosevelt. And a whistle going against St. Francis. I think that was Marmolejo. Arvin Lopez to his right for Roosevelt and across midfield. Along the near sideline. It's passed back, and they'll start over from the defensive side. Edmund Montano ahead to the right and headed out of bounds. Tossed in, headed right back out. Morgan McKenzie knocked that one away for the Fighting Saints and back out for a Roosevelt throw-in. And now the Lakers reclaim the possession. Pushed ahead for Aldape. Anthony Aldape loses the ball. It's poked high into the air, and it bounces right at midfield, out of bounds. Throw in here for Roosevelt. Tossed into Montano. Mario Graciano is in net, actually well outside of the net right now as he works his way forward and gives it a big boot downfield. Knocked away by the St. Francis defense. Carlos Veracruz has to quickly backpedal back into the goal to make sure Roosevelt doesn't get a freebie. Pushed into the box, and it rolls harmlessly to the foot of the waiting Carlos Veracruz. Carlos Veracruz has started all 7 games, including today, for St. Francis, and he has not been removed once. He's been out there for every minute of the season. He's allowed 12 goals, an average of 2 per game. 38 saves. He, of course, has a record, as the team does, 3-1-1. For Roosevelt, Mario Graciano is the goalie. Gave up 5 goals, made 4 saves in his first start of the season. Tossed in by Roosevelt along the near side towards the center and back behind midfield. This is Edmund Montano once again. Montano gives it back to Mario Graciano. Goalkeeper again about 10 yards outside of the box. Now starts to backpedal as St. Francis tries to put a little pressure on the defense. It goes back into the box. Graciano could have picked it up. He elects instead to dribble off to his right and boot it downfield. Headed back the other way by the Saints, and a push from behind. Foul's called on Roosevelt. Rashid has the ball set up for the free kick. Just under 32 minutes to play in the first half. 2-0. St. Francis is in the lead. They've gotten goals from Malik Rashid and Zakhar Shkidchenko. Nearly another goal right there, but Mario Graciano is able to jump out on top of the ball. This is Marmolejo. Anthony Marmolejo sends it forward looking for Shkidchenko. We've got an injured man down for St. Francis. The whistle blows. I think Marmolejo is the guy down after sending that last ball downfield. A free kick here for St. Francis. Marmolejo gets to his feet. Slightly hobbled, but he's okay. He'll stay in the game. Clock continues to run as the ball is rolled off towards the near sideline, and Fabian Alvarado deflected back the other way by Roosevelt. Alvarado this time will throw it in. Toss deep down the sideline for Shkidchenko, and it comes up short. Easily intercepted by the Lakers. In the middle of the field, just in front of the box, it's pushed back towards the goalkeeper, Graciano. Graciano kicks it to the outside. Montano off the foot of Jose Rivera. Taken away by Shkidchenko. Shkidchenko is tripped up. Foul called on Montano. And Shkidchenko a little shaken up. Training staff started to come out, I think. He waved them off. We approach 30 minutes to play. I think he took a knee to the midsection there. So he's just a little shaken up, but he's okay. And we're set for the free kick. It'll be taken by Sergio Perez for St. Francis. Perez approaches it 28 yards out to the right side. He crosses it in front of the net and right into the hands of Mario Graciano. So a good looking chance on a free kick there, but Graciano is able to make the play cleanly. And St. Francis loses the ball, but offsides flag was up. Anthony Aldape was out in front of the defense, and he was actually out in front of everybody. The defense moved up before St. Francis lost the ball, so it wasn't as though Aldape had moved too quickly out beyond the defensive line. In fact, he had just stayed where he was. The defense left him where he was, and they were not obviously planning on losing the ball. When they did, Roosevelt immediately got called for the offsides. Kicked along the near sideline. It's Contreras, and Contreras loses it out of bounds. Tossed into Marmolejo. Anthony Marmolejo is worked off the ball by Marvin Lopez. Here's Aldape. Aldape, the Roosevelt striker, rolls it to the outside, gets it right back, and now looking down on the other side of the field. He's intercepted. Nice work by the Fighting Saints defense. Pushed ahead. Shkidchenko chases it down. He trips up. Loses the ball out of bounds. I'm not sure if there was a whistle there. I didn't hear one. And so there was no foul. It was picked up by Graciano, and he's able to restart play. Deep downfield for Roosevelt. Taken back by St. Francis, trying to keep it in bounds. Alvarado was intercepted by Jose Rivera, and Rivera is then tripped up. A foul call. Just under 28 minutes to play in the first half. 2-0 St. Francis. Their 2 goals both came in the first 7 minutes of action. So we've had 10 quiet ones since then. A flurry of activity right at the very beginning. Here comes the free kick from near the near sideline. Sent out towards the back post, and it drifts out of bounds on a couple of bounces. A goal kick is coming up for St. Francis. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto, senior goalkeeper, has the ball set up and pushes it meekly to his left, Leonardo Haro. Haro is pressured by Rivera. Rivera trying to take the ball away, but instead he deflects it out of bounds. It's a throw in for St. Francis, but deep in their own territory. Here's the throw, Fabian Alvarado. Deflected back the other way. Here's Lopez. Crosses it back to the middle of the field. From the defensive side, Roosevelt pushes it along the far side, and it bounces out the back line. Free kick coming up for St. Francis, and will be taken by their keeper, Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. Kick is away towards the midfield circle, deflected back by Roosevelt. Morgan McKenzie puts his foot into it and sends it out into the bleachers on the far side of the field. Roosevelt would put it back in play on a throw. Hit back into the air, high towards the Roosevelt side. At midfield, back and forth on the headers, and St. Francis is able to take possession. Shkichenko heads it to the middle of the field, and offsides is the call. Roosevelt ball after the offsides call. We've got it from the defensive side, working close to the near sideline, and it's deflected off Malik Rashid and back towards the Lakers. Leonardo Haro tries to chase it down, but a whistle blows back at midfield. We've got a foul. We're going to have a substitute coming in for St. Francis. Amin Mizyed is set to check on, but we've got a Roosevelt free kick right here. The Saints are not able to make the substitution just yet. Rivera works his way towards the middle. And a foul is called as Marvin Lopez is tripped up on the play. I think that was Santos Contreras who got him. Marvin Contreras sets up another free kick for Roosevelt. 24:42 on the clock. And it is paused for the booking here. Ready to go. Ball is set up by Gerardo Nicolas and immediately deflected by Contreras. Shkichenko rolls it ahead. One-on-one race for the ball here, and it's won by Roosevelt. Nice sliding tackle made by Alan Rubio. Saints work to take it back, but a foul is called. From behind. That little trip up leads to the foul called on Thiago Bandera. Roosevelt on the far side of the field. Down towards the corner, nearly taken away. Good, tough defense here from St. Francis, but Roosevelt keeps possession alive as Lopez rolls it back to the middle of the field. Here comes Rubio. Alan Rubio deflected away by Haro. And knocked ahead by St. Francis, but the Lakers get it right back on the far side of the field. Chipped into the box. Controlled one touch and right towards Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. There's the punt from Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. Down across midfield, headed back by Roosevelt. Lopez pushed off the ball by Bandera. And with just under 23 minutes now to play in the first half. It'll be a Roosevelt possession. Coming on the free kick off the foul along the sideline. Sent down into the box on one hop. It's picked up by Carlos Ferrer-Cotto, who immediately tries to push it back the other way. He rolls it out to Contreras. Contreras down the field, and Marmolejo got tied up right there with Edmund Montano. Ball ended up going out of bounds. Marmolejo wanted a foul called, nothing doing. Substitution here as Amin Medied comes in. Medied is on for Thiago Bandera. He had been waiting to come in for a while, but we just couldn't get a stoppage other than on Roosevelt free kicks. But he's finally out there in time for the second half of the first half. There's a header into the box by Malik Rashid, and it rolls into the hands of Graciano. Roosevelt works it into the middle of the field. Pushed ahead, out in front of everybody. Ferrer-Cotto steps out of the box and kicks it towards the far sideline, out of bounds. That ricochets up the seating area on the far side of the field. That's a throw in for Roosevelt. Here's Rubio passing back to the defense and back out into the midfield. Lopez taps it ahead and knocked away by Haro. Ball bounces out towards the sideline. It's out, and it's a throw-in for St. Francis. 21 minutes to go, first half. All Saints so far, they lead 2-0. It's been a while, though, since they've scored. It's been a while since they've even threatened. Both their goals came very early, as there's a man shaken up for the Fighting Saints on a foul called. Miziad, who just checked into the game, is the one who's down at the moment. Quickly back up. Clock does stop with 20 minutes and 38 seconds to play in the first half. Ziad is okay. Walks off all the way down the field towards the sideline. A long walk as he was tripped up on the opposite sideline. Now is to come back towards his bench with the injury stoppage to come check back in. There doesn't seem to be any indication that he is not going to be able to continue right now. So it's a free kick for the Fighting Saints at midfield. Miziad stands off on the sideline for just a moment as Morgan McKenzie lines up to take this free kick. The official having a quick word with St. Francis head coach Dan Cross before the free kick. I'll give the go-ahead to get back underway in just a moment. 2-0 St. Francis leads on goals from Rashid and Shkichenko. We're ready to continue now. Kick goes towards the near side, headed by Contreras into the box. Tipped away, but right back to Malik Rashid. Now Contreras on the sideline. Contreras pressured, tripped up, and a foul is called on Roosevelt once again. So another free kick right here. Second in a row for the Fighting Saints. This one called on Edmund Montano, the foul. This is the second time today that from near this corner, St. Francis had a free kick, not a corner kick, but right in the same general spot on the field. Ball is set up by Sergio Perez. Perez approaches, sends it in close, and it's quickly headed away. That was Aldape, the striker who got his head on that ball, knocked it back out of bounds. Chance lost for St. Francis there, but they've still got the ball on this side of the field and will still prepare to make an attack. Alvarado tosses it in. Rashid back to Contreras. They go further back. Leonardo Haro goes towards the middle. Rashid is there, getting it back from Anthony Marmolejo. Rashid works his way to the outside. Around the defender. Now works it forward to Shkidchenko. Shkidchenko down to the corner. Tries to turn that corner along the back line. It is finally lost out of bounds and deflected away by the Lakers. So the Saints get a corner kick. Just under 19 minutes to play in the first half. St. Francis had a free kick from just about this spot just a moment ago. It did not result in any goal scoring, but this is their second actual corner kick of the game. Fourth time they've had a free kick from this area. The second time it's actually been a corner kick. It bounces once behind the net and is knocked out of bounds, headed away by the Fighting Saints. Goal kick set up. Ball was last touched by Jorge Navas. Eduardo Hernandez is in for Roosevelt. Here's the kick towards midfield circle. Past Aldape. Tapped over to Aldape though by Eduardo Hernandez. Aldape deflected, gets it right back. Continues to work his way forward. Rolls it down towards the corner. This is Hernandez. Knocked out of bounds. That goes out along the sideline. Throw in here for Roosevelt. 17 and a half minutes to play in the first half. Good kick downfield by the defense and out of bounds. Roosevelt has the throw in. They're back in their own territory now. Backwards before the throw-in. Fired in. Where Alvarado is able to get to it first and knock that ball out of bounds. We'll do this again. Toss backwards this time to the defense. Sent down the middle of the field. Contreras sends it back the other way. Deflected at midfield. Pushed to the outside. Dribbling along the sideline. It's Rivera into the box, and Ferrer Cotto knocks it away. Shkidchenko steps in with the interception. Now a trip and a foul is called. Rashid was tripped on the play. And skidded a little bit on a still slightly slick turf. But he's okay. Hops back up and gets going once again. Deep into the box, headed up into the air. Anyone's ball, and it's won by Roosevelt. Back at midfield. Knocked by Leonardo Haro down the far sideline. Bounds towards that side and goes out of bounds. Mizied tried to keep it in for St. Francis. Ended up picking the foul. The ball is sent back to Mario Graciano. Graciano sets things up and takes a kick down to midfield. Headed into the air by Rashid. Malik Rashid looks to control that ball off his chest. Instead, it's taken away. Chip down ahead of El Dape. Going back the other way, St. Francis. Contreras loses the ball as it's deflected. El Dape back over to the middle of the field, and Rubio now to the right side. Back to the middle, deflection, and a takeaway for St. Francis. Here they come off the steal. Down ahead to Marmolejo. Marmolejo out in front of the defense. He fires a shot and he's offside, so it doesn't matter that the shot was blocked. Off the offsides, the free kick is right down the center of the field. Headed backwards into the box. Contreras turns and sends it deep into the air. Bounces across midfield. And it is won by St. Francis. Contreras once again ahead to the midfielder, Rashid. Rashid taps it back to Alvarado. On the far side, it's Marmolejo. Marmolejo looking for the cross. There it is. And headed back the other direction. Good defense by Roosevelt. Shkidchenko will give it another shot. This one is deflected towards the back line and out of bounds. Because of the deflection, it goes out on Roosevelt. And St. Francis will have a chance here on a corner kick. It's their third corner kick of the half. I'm not sure that this is really a notable stat, but noted anyway. The Fighting Saints only had 5 first half corner kicks all season coming into today. This is the third time they've had one in the first half today. Amazing for a team with as good a record as St. Francis has had. They've had far fewer opportunities from the corner than their opponents have all season. Alvarado in front of the net. Whistles by and out of bounds. We had some pushing and shoving going on down there. Very physical off the corner kick. Usually a lot of corner kicks would be an indication of the fact that you're able to control possession pretty regularly. St. Francis hasn't necessarily been able to do that, but they've gotten the results that they've wanted. 3-1-1 coming in. Along the sideline, Shkidchenko can't catch it. Ball ends up wafting out of bounds. 12 and a half minutes on the clock. Alvarado over to Shkidchenko. Shkidchenko is tripped up and out of bounds to the Fighting Saints. Good defense. Contreras scoops it up for the throw-in. Deflected back in his direction. And right back out of bounds in the same spot. They'll throw it in again. Again, Alvarado again, deflected off the head of a Roosevelt player this time and sent right back out of bounds, this time last touched by St. Francis. Here's the throw-in for Roosevelt. Lost in the middle of the field, knocked away, and the Fighting Saints got it last. El Dape up into the air, headed back the other way. At midfield, pulled to the right side by Alan Rubio. Down along the sideline now. A couple of moves made before it's pushed backwards. There's the cross. Eduardo Hernandez trying to get his footing around McKenzie. Hernandez tried to get to the net, and he had it forced out of bounds. It is going to be a corner kick, or goal kick, sorry. It's going to be a goal kick for St. Francis, so they're able to dodge that threat. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto in the blue goalkeeper's top. Brown shorts, sets himself up for the free kick from the goalkeeper's box. At midfield, headed back by the Roosevelt midfield to the Roosevelt D, but intercepted by St. Francis. Down into the box, towards the back line and out of bounds. Two to nothing, St. Francis leads after two very quick goals. Now we're down to the final 10 minutes of the first half, with the Saints still clutching on to those two goals and that two-goal lead. There's a fake, moving backwards to the defender Morgan McKenzie. And McKenzie loses it out of bounds. Throw in for the Lakers. And a man down for St. Francis. Clock stops at 9:45 to play in the first half. Malik Rashid is the injured player. Rashid's sitting on the ground over on the far side of the field. Now stretches back and lays down on his back. He's grabbing at his right ankle. So that's what appears to be bothering him at the moment. So they'll take a look at Rashid. Malik Rashid's had a productive day so far. He's played well all around, but most notably he scored a goal in the 4th minute. For Rashid, it was the 2nd goal this season. Not just his 3rd shot on goal. And it really wasn't scored on the goalkeeper as much as on the defense. He weaved his way between a couple of defenders and freed himself up for a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He was able to beat Graciano and take the 1-goal lead. Second one was scored by Zakar Shkidchenko. That was Shkidchenko's first goal this season, his 5th game played. Two to nothing, St. Francis. We're fairly late in the first half. Rashid is hurt. He wanders off the field. And Stefan Yakovalic is going to come in his stead. He checks in off the bench. We're ready to continue. Headed by Roosevelt down to the near side. St. Francis gets it back. Contreras pops it down the sideline, and before it lands, a whistle blows. Foul called against Roosevelt. McKenzie's going to take the free kick following the Roosevelt offsides, I think, rather than following this an offsides call. And so McKenzie waits for everybody to move downfield and sends it away. Long kick looking for Contreras. Headed back out of bounds, though, by the Lakers. Saints taking their time. Cool day, you don't want to too much time. Nobody, of course, wants to tighten up out there. It's about 40 degrees at the moment. Wrestled away from Shkidchenko. Good defense by Roosevelt. Now here comes Eldape. Eldape rolls it to the middle of the field. Yakovalic is there for the deflection, and Haro for the clear. Yakovalic again chasing the ball. Sliding tackle made by Santos Contreras. Shkidchenko tries to turn it upfield. There's the cross. There's the shot. And there's the goal. No offsides. Everybody stayed on. And Mizyed scores the goal. For Amin Mizyed, the 2nd of the season. Makes it 3-0 Fighting Saints, and we're still in the first half. 8:06 to play. After a big start, it's the first goal we've seen in the last 30 minutes. But it's just as welcome for the Fighting Saints, who now lead 3-0. Rashid, Shkidchenko, and now Mizyed. Simonovic checks in for Roosevelt before they continue play. Now we do continue play. Carlos Ferracoto immediately stifles a potential Roosevelt attack, and it's cleared by the Saints defense. Ball bounces down into the other box where Mario Graciano picks it up. Graciano rolls it backwards. Now they work their way forward. Push in the back of Contreras with 7.5 minutes to go. Fighting Saints will get a throw in here. Alvarado tosses in towards Gitchenko. It's deflected out of bounds. One more time, about 15 yards downfield. Gitchenko and Mizyed play a little two-man game. And Roosevelt sees right through it. They take possession away. Going from right to left on the move, Contreras knocks it off the foot of a Laker. Down to the corner, Gitchenko trying to set something up in the flow of action. Instead, it's knocked off his foot and out of bounds, and we've got another corner kick coming up. Handful of corner kicks. This is now, I believe, the fourth of the half for St. Francis. Sergio Perez steps all the way down the field in order to take this corner. Perez looks around, readies himself. Here's the kick. In front of the net and knocked up over the goalposts out of bounds. Mario Graciano stepped in and was not the first one to get there. His teammates got to it first. And that created an open net situation, but Roosevelt was able to knock it out of bounds for another corner kick. Here's Perez's kick. Deflected right in front of Graciano, and Graciano is able to make the stop this time. Aldape intercepted by McKenzie, and Morgan McKenzie toes the line, stays in bounds. McKenzie gives a good ball downfield to Marmolejo. One touch from Marmolejo, takes the shot, and it's a little bit high. Out of bounds. I think offsides was called there. That shot went off the football goalposts. Doesn't count, despite being initially a good-looking opportunity. The flag was up the whole way, but wasn't acknowledged immediately, so a late-feeling call. Aldape got in the way of Sergio Perez on Perez's free kick. They'll place the ball back where it was and let Perez do it for real. Not allowed to stand that close to a kicker in a set situation like this. Under 5 minutes to go in the half. All St. Francis so far. Big lead. Perez directs everybody in white. Here's the kick. Curls it behind the net. It's headed towards Graciano. Saved by Mizyed. There's another cross. This one intercepted and cleared by Roosevelt. Packers on midfield. Taken away by Alvarado. Alvarado to Contreras. Contreras against two defenders. One of them takes it away. Far side of the field. Roosevelt continues to make their way towards midfield. Now into the middle. Rolled out by Alan Rubio. We got a trip from behind and a man down for both teams, it looks like. And Roosevelt's player was able to get up a lot more quickly. Foul is actually committed by St. Francis. That's Sergio Perez. So Perez committed the foul, but I guess he took the brunt of the contact. He was down for a minute with an injury, but back up and ready to go. There's the free kick. Into the box, McKenzie heads it into the air towards the sideline, towards that back corner. And he recovers, but ends up losing the ball out of bounds anyway. So it's a Lakers throw in. Tossed into Hernandez. Hernandez working against Yakovalic. Into the box and taken away by the Saints. Whistle blows. Foul is called on the Saints. That one goes on Jorge Navas for leaping over the back of an opponent, using his shoulders as a bit of a springboard. Here comes the Roosevelt free kick. 2.5 minutes to go in the first half. Kick goes in front of the net, headed back by Contreras. A quick shot going the other way, sells way out of bounds on the right side. Shouldn't say way out of bounds, way wide of the net is what I was trying to get across there, but it wasn't way out of bounds. It went over that line by only a couple of inches and then just kind of rolled along that imaginary border the rest of the way, so it barely went out of bounds. But nobody was there to play it anyway. Taken by St. Francis at midfield. Tried to bring it to the near side, instead it's deflected away. Good steal by St. Francis. Shkichenko's on his way. Shkichenko down at the back line, takes the shot. It's deflected out of bounds. Another corner kick for St. Francis. They've had a lot of them. They have not yet had a chance to score on a corner kick. Here's one. It's headed towards the back line and knocked away. Perez takes a kick at it, and Perez sails it over the net. In between the football goalposts that time. Remains 3-0. Been a great game for the Fighting Saints, even though they haven't been able to capitalize on all of their opportunities. They've had a lot of opportunities. Roosevelt would love to get one before halftime. McKenzie has other ideas. He heads it back the other way. Only 45 seconds left in the half. There's no guarantee that either one of these teams is going to have enough time for one more good attack. Valjevic's header is deflected. Stolen. Pushed down off the head of Morgan McKenzie out of bounds. 24 seconds on the clock. Roosevelt's got to find a ball to use in a hurry. 15 seconds now. There's the throw.
10, 9,
Final 10 seconds of play. Aldape rolls it ahead.
4,
There's the cross. A set by the defense. The shot is blocked at the buzzer. And the first half comes to a close. Roosevelt's best scoring chance of the entire half came in literally the final second of the half. As for St. Francis, they had several good chances, and they lead 3-0 as they've taken advantage of several of those chances. So 3-0 is our score after 45 minutes of play. We've got 45 more minutes to play in just a little bit. For right now, I'm going to step aside though at halftime in Joliet. Saints 3, Lakers 0. Second half's about set to begin here in Joliet, ATI Physical Therapy Field at Joliet Memorial Stadium. Terry Bonadonna with you on the call for St. Francis against Roosevelt. Men's soccer today, women's soccer same time tomorrow, same two teams. As the Saints try to get this week of athletics off to a good start. They lead 3-0. A dominant start to the game did not take them long to move ahead as they start out the second half with possession of the ball. Going from right to left now as the two teams, of course, have flip-flop sides. St. Francis now shooting into the north goal, and Roosevelt going from left to right, shooting into the south goal. Fighting Saints struck first in today's game. In the 4th minute, they got a goal from Malik Rashid, unassisted. Rashid then assisted on a goal for Zakhar Shkidchenko. That was in the 7th minute of action. And they waited a while to score again, about a half hour. But in the 37th minute, Amin Mizyed scored off the assist from Zakhar Shkidchenko. So the pattern has held so far. Rashid's goal was unassisted, then he assisted on a goal to Shkidchenko, and then Shkidchenko assisted on a goal to Mizyed. So the next goal you would think would be assisted by Mizyed if the pattern continues, but Roosevelt would like it very much not to continue, hoping that there aren't any more goals going forward for St. Francis as they try to get themselves back into the game. This is Eduardo Hernandez chasing down the ball, but it ends up falling out of bounds. It's a throw-in coming up for St. Francis. Jorge Navas lays it off for Morgan McKenzie, and McKenzie will make the throw just over a minute into second half action. McKenzie fires it in across midfield. Knocked up in the air by Mizyed. At the circle, it's Malik Rashid. Rashid taken off the ball by Gerardo Flores and pushed towards the far sideline, knocked away by the Saints. And up the sideline they go. Back towards the middle of the field. At midfield, this is Rashid. Rashid sends it ahead on sides to Shkidchenko. There's the cross from Shkidchenko and headed away by Roosevelt. Saints will try to give it another go here. Navas knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the Saints. Trying to get it ahead to Thiago Bandera. Goes back to the St. Francis defense, but no offensive pressure there from Roosevelt, so Leonardo Hara takes his time before giving it the kick downfield. Immediately intercepted, and intercepted once again, this time by St. Francis. They're at midfield. This is Rashid. Rashid forced off the ball, gets it right back, and sends it on the ground. A low pass into Shkidchenko. Shkidchenko works his way into the box, 1 against 2. He dribbles past the goalkeeper, but a little bit too far out in front of himself, out of bounds. He tried to get around Mario Graciano. Graciano was able to step up and force Shkidchenko to dribble it out. It was last touch, though, by Roosevelt. So the Fighting Saints are going to get a corner kick. Sergio Perez takes it down to the far side of the field. Saints had 6 corner kicks in the first half. It's more than they had in the entire season worth of first halves coming in. Here's Perez's corner kick, goes right to the net, and it's picked up by Graciano. Clean save for Graciano on the corner kick. Just over 3 minutes into the second half. The ball is knocked away and out of bounds by St. Francis. Fabian Alvarado kicked it out just shy of midfield. Just past midfield, really, and the foul was called before that, so it's going to be a free kick. In the first half, St. Francis outshot Roosevelt 10-3. 7 shots on goal compared to just 2 for the Lakers. And the Saints have kept the pressure on to start this second half. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto has not been challenged back in the net yet. Hernandez works his way around a few defenders, and the whistle blows. They'll take things back the other way as the Fighting Saints get the throw in. Tossed in along the sideline and intercepted by Roosevelt. They work their way down the middle of the field. That's Eduardo Hernandez losing the ball. Taken back by the Fighting Saints. Navas sends it ahead towards Bandera. Mizyed trying to take the ball away, but can't quite get it off of Antonio Evagoras, but Evagoras loses it out of bounds. So it's a throw in for St. Francis. Morgan McKenzie steps up from the defensive line to fire it into Miziet, into the box, knocked away by Roosevelt. And the Lakers take control off of their defensive line. Pushed ahead, straight down the middle of the field. Now off to the left side, and back on defense once again. Roosevelt methodically working their way down the field, just trying to hold on to the possession right now, not give it up. Alan Rubio down the way on the far sideline, and take it from him as the whistle blows. Just about 39 and a half minutes to go now. St. Francis has been firmly in control the entire way. They'll try to keep it that way on the throw-in. Headed into the air by Miziet and deflected back by Roosevelt to the middle of the field. Hernandez, nice move by Hernandez to get around Malik Rashid. Ahead to Alan Rubio. Rubio chips it down to the far side. Long run to chase it into the corner. Roosevelt's able to keep it alive. Back at the corner of the box. There's the cross, and there's the save by Carlos Ferracoto, picking it up on one hop. Carlos Ferracoto takes his time and now punts it away, deep across midfield. Deflected back the other way and out of bounds. Toss it in. It's Rashid. And Rashid, from just shy of midfield, ends up going all the way back to the goalie, letting Ferracoto start it on his own. Ferracoto's pass, looking for Jorge Navas, ends up going a little bit too far out of bounds. Tossed in by Roosevelt. A little tie up there and a foul called as Miziet knocks over Omar Flores. Free kick here for Roosevelt. They play it short to the right side. It's Emmanuel Castanon. Malik Rashid gets in the way, and another whistle. We're going back St. Francis's way after the Roosevelt foul. Malik Rashid a little bit slow to get his bearings, but he's up and trying to walk it off. McKenzie has everybody ready for his free kick from the defensive end, near side. McKenzie sends it straight down the middle of the field, off the back of a Roosevelt defender. Taken by St. Francis. There's a nice ball by Navas down along the sideline and can't quite keep it in. Bandera tried to keep the attack moving forward, but just by inches it rolled out of bounds. Roosevelt is able to keep it in. Hernandez along the sideline, poked away from behind by Navas. That's out. And that's a Roosevelt throw-in, so they continue moving their momentum forward. As Emmanuel Castanon holds it at midfield. Castanon tosses it in and off the foot of Perez, who pushes it right back out of bounds. Lobbed in close to the box. McKenzie tips it away, and we're going the other way. 36:30 showing on the clock. McKenzie steps up to throw it in. Off the head of Miziet and taken away. At midfield, over to Gerardo Flores, a little bit behind Flores on that pass. Santos Contreras was almost able to take it away. He did end up getting possession back for St. Francis as the ball was touched out of bounds by Roosevelt. Knocked out of bounds, this time by the Fighting Saints. So back-to-back changes of possession down on the far side of the field as the two teams both battle to try to find some rhythm here in the second half. At midfield, it's Hernandez working his way forward for the Lakers. Hernandez blows by two defenders. McKenzie steps up on him. Hernandez, one man to beat, can't beat him as he gets along the back line and is forced out of bounds. It's going to be a goal kick. Well defended there by McKenzie after Hernandez made a nice run initially. Eduardo Hernandez worked his way around multiple defenders, but was halted at the last instant. And it's another goal kick for Carlos Ferracoto as he takes his time grabbing the ball and rolling it out to the edge of the box. Ready for sending the ball out across midfield, which is exactly what he does on that kick, although Roosevelt's able to head it right back the other way, out of bounds. 35 minutes to go, 3-0 St. Francis. They scored 2 goals early in the first half, 1 late in the first half. We're over 10 minutes into the second half now. No real action yet, certainly no action on the scoreboard. But the Saints are just fine with that right now. They've got a very comfortable lead for this stage of the game, as long as they continue to play strong on defense as they have so far. They're sitting pretty, as Roosevelt has not had a really strong looking attack yet. I believe just 1 shot on goal so far in this second half, which gives them 3 for the game. But Carlos Ferracoto has been up to the task every time. Ferracoto makes an average of over 6 saves per game. In fact, it's around 7 saves per game for Ferracoto, and so the fact that he's only been challenged 3 times today, and none of them particularly difficult saves, have made this, at least so far, a pretty routine day for him. This is, again, Carlos Ferracoto getting involved in the action. Not a save this time, as that ball is well wide of the net, but it is still in the box, so he picks it up and sets his team moving in the other direction. Here's his punt, a good leg from Carlos Ferracoto as he bounces it 15 yards beyond midfield, but right back to Flores of Roosevelt. Gerardo Flores tries to make his way ahead. Can't do it as the ball ricochets out of bounds. Anthony Marmolejo is back in for the Fighting Saints. Marmolejo visible by his short sleeves. I think he's the only one out there on St. Francis in short sleeves. Roosevelt's got a lot of players in the short sleeves, but it is a chillier day than we're accustomed to for soccer. I guess in a typical season, of course, we play soccer in the fall rather than in the spring. There's a trip. A foul called on, I think, Leonardo Haro of St. Francis. Free kick coming up for Roosevelt, 15 yards beyond midfield. Usually the season starts in 90-degree weather in August and runs through early November. So by the time you get to early November, you might get the occasional day where the weather is like this, in the upper 30s, low 40s, wet and hazy, and just altogether not all that pleasant. Although a good day, I guess, to be out running around for coaches, the spectators, and the players on the bench. Probably not the most comfortable of situations. Tough play for Carlos Ferracoto, who falls on top of that ball. All the way from about 45 yards out, they tried to put that shot on goal. It was Jose Rivera who took the kick. Carlos Ferracoto seemed to have a tough time with it initially because it was sinking so fast. Coming in kind of a tough angle for him, but he was able to jump on top of it and make sure nobody was able to tip it into the net. So the game remains scoreless for Roosevelt, 3-0, and Francis has the lead. Knocked out of bounds there by Haro. Under 32 minutes to play in today's action. Dominated by the Fighting Saints so far, although the second half has been much more even, at least up to this point. Battle for the ball won by Roosevelt. And a stoppage as there is an injured man for Roosevelt. Very briefly, at least, Omar Flores was shaken up as he's fouled by the Fighting Saints, and Flores seems to be doing okay now. Saints look to clear it. Malik Rashid pushes it ahead. Rolls into the middle of the field. Down the near sideline, trying to hook up with Anthony Marmolejo. The pass came in a little bit short in order to make that connection. Deflected by the Lakers and pushed back to the right. Along the sideline, thrown in by Evagoras and back out of bounds, touched by the Saints. Evagoras drops the ball along the sideline, picked up by Emmanuel Castanon, who will throw in instead. Castanon's pass is picked out of bounds. Last touch by the Saints. Caston works his way back. Tapped forward once again, and we've got another trip, and this time the foul goes against Anthony Aldape. So Roosevelt called for the foul. O'Hara is down for St. Francis. He's up and walking. He's okay. Just about a half hour to play in the game now. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto, deep down the near sideline, bounces towards that sideline and out of bounds. It was touched very briefly by Roosevelt, deflecting its course towards that side. So it's a St. Francis throw, and in good position to throw it in. Morgan McKenzie steps all the way up. Just 35 yards off the net. Tosses it into the box. Mizyed looking for the cross, and it's deflected out of bounds. Good deflection by Flores. It sends us back to the corner. This time the corner kick is going to be taken by Santos Contreras. I think this is his first one today. Contreras, ball headed towards the net and somehow knocked away by Roosevelt. Looked like it got the crossbar and was deflected by Roosevelt's defenders. And just a great stop by the Lakers when it looked like St. Francis had a good looking goal. Good chance for St. Francis. Goes for naught as Mario Graciano and his defense are able to step up and make the play. Saints are still pressuring though this Lakers D. It's Marmolejo working towards the middle of the field. Marmolejo passes it back to the defense. And so ends the St. Francis threat. Well stopped by Roosevelt. They're able to clear it, although unintentionally in that case. Saints continued with possession, still trying to force another attack, but it was lost to the Lakers. Saints get it back, but they're at the midfield now. It's McKenzie, team's goal scorers leader, ahead for Marmolejo, who was offsides. Flag is up, there's no whistle, and now finally the whistle blows. Flag was up all the time. Marmolejo was out in front of the pack, and so he's called for the offsides, and it's turned back over to Roosevelt. Off the chest of Aldape and taken away from him. Navas knocks it away. O'Hara takes it towards the middle of the field for the Saints. And wrestled off the ball. Roosevelt takes over. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto steps in. Pushes ahead with the right foot and drifts immediately back into his box where he can safely pick up the ball back in the net. Here's Hernandez. Hernandez, nice move to his left. There's the pass, there's the shot, and there's the save. It was Hernandez setting up Aldape. And Carlos Ferrer-Cotto fell right on top of the ball. Nice work by Ferrer-Cotto, and what may have been the best scoring chance. In fact, I think that was the best scoring chance of the day so far for Roosevelt. But the shutout remains intact. Saints still lead by 3. They haven't scored a goal now in almost a half hour. They went a half hour between their last 2 goals. Knocked off towards the right side. Saints trying to clear it, and they do the next best thing, which is to push it out of bounds and allow the rest of the defense to come back and get set while Roosevelt throws it in. On the ground, we've got a whistle. It's going to be a free kick for St. Francis. That was Emmanuel Castanon, and Castanon kind of tripped up a little bit and then just fell on top of the ball, and he kind of huddled over it, not allowing anyone else to make a move. So he is called for the foul as the Saints quickly lose possession on the far sideline. Roosevelt throws it right back in. There's a deflection, and the Saints are able to clear it. Can they keep it in bounds? They can, but it's intercepted. Along the near side, Flores. Intercepted by Haro, and Leonardo Haro right down the middle of the field, headed back by Roosevelt. Flores once again, headed by Contreras. Back and forth we go at midfield. Finally, the Saints begin to sustain an attack. Long ball for Mizyed and taken away from him. Deflected by Marmolejo, but Roosevelt gets it back and knocks it out of bounds. Just 25 minutes of soccer still to be played today. Saints feeling good about where they're at right now as far as the score. They don't need to score again for this one to be a rousing success. They would like to, but at 3-0, defense is the primary concern right now. Shkidchenko and Yakovlevich come back in. Clock is stopped at 24 minutes 55 seconds with an injured Saints down on the field. Injury over on the far side. Bandera getting tended to by the trainers, and Bandera seems to be okay. At least okay enough to walk it off himself. He's walking off the field on his own over on the far sideline. So he has cleared play. And we continue. The Saints have made their substitutions. They've got a full spate of players out there. Lost out of bounds by Roosevelt. And Marmolejo is going to be the thrower here. Marmolejo fires in front of the net, deflected back by the defense. Marmolejo tries to race his way in again. Yakovlevich up in the air and out of bounds. Substitute now for Roosevelt. Manuel Castanon checks out. Sideline, that ball sent all the way towards the corner. Carlos Veracotto watches it go, and it goes out the back line. So completely straight. That ball had no curve to it at all. Didn't curve out towards the sideline, and it ends up going out the end line and setting up an easy goal kick for St. Francis. Carlos Veracotto has it set for the kick. Bounces once at midfield. Back the other way by Mizyed. Taro puts his head on the ball, but a shove from behind Eldape pushed Mizyed in the back. And so the foul is called on Eldape. And the free kick belongs to St. Francis. Morgan McKenzie ready for the approach. Slows himself down. He'll do it again. Far to the right side, along the sideline. Contreras keeps it in. Down to the corner. It's taken away. Good defense by Roosevelt. Lakers trying to make their move. The defense has been strong for St. Francis, though, as they're not allowing that move to be made. Exactly halfway through the second half now, 22.5 minutes to go. No scoring yet. It was 3-0 at halftime. It still is. And it will remain that way for at least a little bit longer as the Saints stifle the Lakers' attack right there. Inbounds. Not anymore. Knocked out by the Lakers. Belongs to Contreras on the far side of the field. Roosevelt's been a tough team for St. Francis to beat in recent years. It's been 9 years since they've won. 8 years, really. 8 school years. It was the fall of 2012. Roosevelt has won every game since then in this conference rivalry, including a tournament game a couple of years ago. CCAC tournament. There's Eduardo Hernandez. Hernandez taps it ahead, and it's intercepted by Yakovalevic, who rolls it a little bit too hard out of bounds. McKenzie not able to keep it alive. The way things have gone today, though, the Saints are in good position to end that skid against Roosevelt. 3-0 they lead today. They've led ever since the 4th minute of action. Took them all 3 minutes and 27 seconds to get their first goal. Belonged to Malik Rashid, and they have never looked back. So far, that goal alone would have been enough to keep the lead as the ball is thrown in right to Carlos Ferracoto. So he threw it a little bit harder than he intended to, and Carlos Ferracoto is there to pick it up on a hop. Even if that first goal does prove to be enough, the Saints are glad they were able to tack on with a little bit more confidence and a little more comfort here in the second half. Roosevelt's had a few good attacks since halftime. Didn't really have very many in the first half. They've looked better at times during the second, but it's been too little too late. At least it looks like it might be. Here's a chance for Miziet in the box. He already has 1 goal today, but he loses it this time, and it's picked up by Mario Graciano. 20 minutes to play. And the Saints are rolling. Middle of the field, McKenzie heads it off the back of Aldape, and it ricochets over to Hernandez. Hernandez rolls it into the middle. Carlos Ferracoto scoots to his right and picks it up. Fighting for positioning. He's able to clear himself up, rolls it ahead from Miziet in the box, takes it to the back line. There's the cross, and couldn't quite hook up with Shkidchenko on the back line. Contreras keeps it alive for the Fighting Saints. Shkidchenko worked off the ball, well defended, taken away by Roosevelt. Down the middle of the pitch and back towards Carlos Ferracoto, who dribbles it back into the box. For the defense to pressure him and scoops up the ball now that he can. Carlos Ferracoto just eating some time there as we're down under 19 minutes to play. And that's a lot of time, but it's not a lot when you need 3 goals. So Roosevelt has a lot of work to do. They need to start doing it in a hurry. Kick from Haro down the sideline to Marmolejo. Marmolejo finds his way in the corner. There's his cross, back post. Shkidchenko heads it in. And that makes it 4-0 St. Francis on Shkidchenko's 2nd goal of the afternoon. But what a setup by Anthony Marmolejo. Dribbled it all the way down into the corner, and just a picture-perfect cross. There was absolutely nothing that Mario Graciano could have done about that one. 2 players, Marmolejo and Shkidchenko, did it about as well as you could possibly draw it up. For Shkidchenko, that's now 2 goals and an assist in the game. He's had a whale of a game today. Appearing for the 5th time this season. Morgan McKenzie takes it away. Shkidchenko came in with 1 assist, no goals this year. He played well last time I saw him here at home, but on the scoreboard today in a big way. Came in with 1 assist, no goals. Now he's got 2 assists, 2 goals for the season. There is an injured Saint down. St. Francis had possession of the ball over on the far side, and the clock has stopped. 17 minutes, 37 seconds to play. Trey Navas is the man lying on the ground, not too far from us, as the training staff comes out to have a look at him. Had a lot of injuries today, but so far, fortunately, nothing has been serious. Most of the players who have gone down at various times have been able to come back in. Muscles tighten up pretty quickly on a cold day like this, so you always have to be wary of that. And of course, it always hurts just a little bit more anytime you're hit anywhere on the body with the soccer ball on a chilly day like this one. There is a crowd in attendance today after fans have not been allowed in for the last several home games, and this is not necessarily the one you'd want to come out here for, but there are a handful of fans scattered throughout Joliet Memorial Stadium here on a damp and cold March afternoon. Navas is up and he has come off the field, and he will be replaced for right now. Hunter Foose comes in. And play resumes as the ball is rolled back to Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. He lets it go back into the box before poking it back up into his hands, allowing a few more seconds to run off the clock as he kicks it away. I mentioned about a minute ago in game time, that ball goes straight out of bounds. There's a souvenir for somebody. Not really, they're going to have to give it back. But I mentioned about a minute ago in game time that it seemed like there was a lot of time left, but there really wasn't. When you're chasing 3 goals, you need to be on a goal every 6-minute pace, which would be an incredible pace to score at. Well, now a little bit more time has gone off the clock, and the Lakers are down by 4. So now they need to be on a goal every 4 minutes pace, and that's assuming they're able to keep St. Francis from scoring again. Contreras sends it into the box, taken away by Roosevelt and cleared on the far side of the field. So there is not at all a lot of time for Roosevelt right now. And if they do want to make the comeback, just to tie the score, as the foul is called against Roosevelt here, every second is going to count, and St. Francis knows that. Not that they're deliberately letting the clock run, but they're not going to be in any hurry anytime like right now when they've got a free kick coming their way. There's no reason to speed things up if they don't have to. McKenzie's ball goes into the box. Marmolejo trips and can't quite recover in enough time to reach that ball. It's out for a goal kick. St. Francis 3-2-2 on the season, including 2-2-1 in conference play. Roosevelt at midfield. Tapped back into the circle and stolen by the Fighting Saints. Nice job by Marmolejo to keep that ball inbounds to Shkipchenko. He pushes it ahead to Marmolejo. Marmolejo stays on sides, is able to track that ball down. There's the cross, is deflected out the back line for a corner kick. Yet another corner kick for St. Francis. They've had them seemingly constantly today. And with just over 15 minutes on the clock, they'll get a corner kick here from the near side. It's going to be taken by Santos Contreras. Contreras has had some good corners today. The last one in particular, I think it was actually his first one. Sergio Perez had been handling this duty for the first half. They nearly got a goal out of it. Not this time, as it bounces over the head of Mizyed and an offsides flag is thrown up. It's going back to Roosevelt. Here comes Evagoras, passing towards the middle of the field and turned upfield by Gerardo Flores. Along the sideline and out of bounds. Roosevelt loses their possession and loses the opportunity for an attack. Roosevelt has not been very strong this year on the defensive end, giving up 4 goals a game. Now they've given up at least 4 goals in all 3 of their games, including today. came in with an 0-2 record. A chance to score here. Aldape went offsides. Never got the shot off, but he was offsides anyway, so if he had shot, it wouldn't have counted. He wasn't happy with the call. Players rarely are. That's one that's very difficult to see when you're on the field. But as I was saying before, Aldape nearly shut me up with that goal, is that for as good as Roosevelt, or I should say for as much as they've struggled on defense, they have been good at least getting on the board offensively. They scored 2 goals in their first game of the season. They have not been shut out in their first 2. Today, though, they've had some trouble on the offensive end, while they've continued to struggle defensively. Clock stopped at 13:23 for a discussion with the coaches. And there's the throw in. They'll do it again. Throw in for Roosevelt after the substitutions are made. Jose Terrazas checks into the game for the Lakers. St. Francis called for the foul and a free kick here for the Lakers from the near sideline, about 40 yards off the net. Here's the kick into the box, headed back by St. Francis. Contreras pushes it forward with the head, and along the sideline, Roosevelt's able to keep it in. Nice clearance there by the St. Francis defense. It bounces just past midfield, and Lakers have to begin this possession anew. 12:20 on the clock. Running out of time for a comeback. Sent down towards the back line, near the corner, hit up into the air, towards the box, and headed away. 1-on-3 for Sergio Perez, and it is taken by the Lakers. Tough one for Perez, but the rest of the defense able to step up. Jakovaljevic is able to knock it away along the sideline. Roosevelt makes their way up once again. Down towards the corner, keeping it in bounds. There's the cross deflected by McKenzie. Into the middle of the field. Flores has a chance. Push to the left. A sustained attack here for Roosevelt. There's a shot, and it's well wide and out of bounds. Shot taken by Alan Rubio. And that was one of the better possessions of the game we've seen from Roosevelt. Really held on to it for a while. They were able to keep the St. Francis defense at bay. With ball movement, working it around the edge of the box. And Alan Rubio freed himself up for a decent look at the net, but wide by several feet as Carlos Ferracoto dove after it and then ultimately let it go. This goes out of bounds on the Fighting Saints, deep down the other end of the field. And that means it's a goal kick here for Roosevelt. Set up in front of the net by Graciano, and he works it forward very quickly before it's given right back to him. Lakers are in a hurry, down by 4 with just 10.5 minutes to go. They need 4 goals, they need them fast. That's just to force overtime. Jakovaljevic against 2 defenders, called for the foul. Here come the Lakers along the sideline. We've got a yellow card. Yellow card given to Stefan Jakovaljevic. Second yellow card given to St. Francis today. Santos Contreras was handed one in the first half, and now Jakovaljevic's got a yellow on his sheet as well. Clock halts at 10:12 for the booking. And when we're able to resume, the ball just past midfield, to the right of midfield. And the kick is away for Roosevelt. Into the box, and Carlos Ferracoto is there to make the stop. Nobody around in a black shirt. As he's finally pressured, he picks it up. Carlos Ferracoto continues to try to run some time off the clock as he and the Saints try to cruise to a 4-0 victory. They've held the lead ever since the 4th minute. They were up 3-0 at halftime. And were able to add maybe the prettiest goal of the game here in the second half, just about 10 minutes ago, a little bit under 10 minutes ago of game time. Foul called on the Lakers. Free kick coming up here for St. Francis, and this is the stage of the game when you do have a multi-goal lead like this. I mentioned before, the Saints will try to run just a little extra time as much as they can, just not in any hurry on free kicks or the ball going out of bounds. Whereas Roosevelt, you expect to see the exact opposite going forward as that ball sails right into the hands of Graciano. And we saw it right there from Graciano. Roosevelt is in the opposite mindset right now. They need to put fast forward on. Trying to save a few seconds anywhere they can. That ball sent into the box, and Carlos Ferracoto chases it down before any Lakers can get there. He waits for his team to move downfield, gives the high, deep punt. Drops about 20 yards past the midfield line. Anthony Marmolejo is able to control it. He's got a man to his right. Sends it to Mizyed, and Mizyed, looking for Shkidchenko, pushes it a little bit too far and out of bounds. So a goal kick coming up for Roosevelt as the Saints make a substitution. In fact, both teams make a substitution. Marvin Lopez is back in for Roosevelt. The Saints call for the first time today on Oscar Leon. Goris gives it back to Graciano. Here's Flores, Gerardo Flores, trying to get by two defenders, and he is tugged away from the ball by Shkidchenko. Foul called on St. Francis. Set this free kick up again from the right spot on the field, right in the middle. It's rolled over to Evagoras on the right side. Evagoras sends it deep the other way. Headed towards the sideline, still Roosevelt possession. 7.5 minutes to play in the game. Into the box, and again, Carlos Ferracoto steps up on it and makes the play before it can get to the net. It's a low line drive punt that time from Ferracoto and intercepted by Roosevelt. Sergio Perez takes it right back for the Saints. There's McKenzie losing it out of bounds. Morgan McKenzie's had a good game defensively, not involved on the offensive side today. Came in with 7 goals on the season. You figure a guy who had scored about half of his team's production all year, or accounted for about half the team's production all year offensively, coming in on a day where they've had one of their best offensive games, scoring 4 goals today. He might be a little bit more involved, but they haven't needed him to be. Shkidchenko has scored twice. Malik Rashid has also scored once, as has Amin Mizyed. Ball is set up for the free kick here. About 27 yards out on the right sideline. Kick is sent in. There's the deflection in front of the net, a shot, and it is high and wide out of bounds. Another chance for Roosevelt there. They've had a few more of them here in this second half after they were down big early. Very much outplayed in the first half. They've managed to keep things much more even in the second half, but it hasn't been enough. For one thing, they haven't been able to score. For another, they were already down big. All the chances in the world are only going to help so much if you're not able to finish it off. They've not been able to finish their attacks today. Saints bring Isaac Avalos into the game. Shkidchenko sits down after a very strong 2-goal performance today, most likely done for the day now, with just over 5 minutes to play in regulation. Off the free kick, Roosevelt commences the attack. Nice job working around one defender by Jose Terrazas, but Saints are able to take it away in the end and push it downfield right back to Graciano. Graciano quickly starts moving in the other direction. On the far sideline. Halting and then pushing it forward is Zambrano. Marmolejo to Hunter Foose. Hunter Foose down the sideline. There's his cross. Another shot and another goal. And that's the second of the day for Amin Mizyed. 5-0 St. Francis with 4:38 to play. If they had not already succeeded in putting the game away, that one certainly seems to have done it. The second goal today for Mizyed. Shkidchenko has 2 goals as well. Malik Rashid scored the first one way back in the 4th minute of play. And the Saints have kept pouring it on. And I just mentioned Roosevelt has done a much better job here in the second half of keeping things more even. And that has been true in terms of the overall gameplay, but they just haven't been able to finish their attacks. And St. Francis has. They've done a very good job of finishing at the net and some really nice setups. We saw a beautiful assist earlier from Anthony Marmolejo. That time Hunter Foose sent the cross in and set things up for Amin Mizyed. His throw-in goes to Mizyed. Takes another shot, but it's out of bounds for a goal kick. Under 4 minutes to play. Saints scored in the first 4 minutes, and they nearly scored in the last 4 minutes as well. And trying to put this thing away. 5-0 the score against a team that historically the Saints have struggled to beat. No struggle today. They have been fantastic from start to finish today, or at least from start to close to finish. Let you know in 3.5 minutes if in fact they have been good all the way to the finish. Saints called for the foul there as Roosevelt works their way across midfield on the far sideline. Deflected, taken back the other way. Defense, the Lakers will send it back to their goalkeeper. He starts the counterattack, going the other direction. Towards the sideline, pass received and deflected backwards once again. This is Evagoras struggling to get around Marmolejo. Evagoras finally turns towards the sideline, looking to get it upfield. Marmolejo taps it away. Evagoras keeps it alive though. Here come the Lakers, Terrazas. Terrazas passes to the middle of the field. Marvin Lopez right back outside. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Trying to turn upfield unsuccessfully there. Gerardo Flores was bumped on the play by a fighting Saint. Terrazas restarts it with the free kick. Flores once again nearly intercepted. Back ahead to Terrazas, who kicks it right back. Now sent into the box, headed away by the Saints. Shot for Gerardo Flores, good looking shot, but a nice save by Carlos Ferracoto, who jumps up and makes the play. From long range, a good looking shot from Gerardo Flores on what was starting to look more and more like an unproductive time down the field. It's a lot of passing back and forth, but just not really going anywhere. And then finally Flores just geared up, took the shot, and put it on target. Carlos Ferracoto was there to make the save. Foul called on Roosevelt, setting up the free kick for St. Francis. Just on the wrong side of midfield, but they changed that with that kick from McKenzie down into the box. Mizyed has 2 goals, looking for a third. It's off the back of a Roosevelt defender. And the Lakers are able to come up with a stop, whether intentional or not. Zaro to Marmolejo, knocked away. Final minute of play. Flores rolls it to the middle of the field. This is Marvin Lopez. Lopez is halted. 4 white shirts in the area. Saints knock it away, but Roosevelt gets it back along the near sideline, pushed ahead, and lost out of bounds. Terrazas couldn't keep it going. Saints will make another substitution here. Mariano Caturba comes in for Morgan McKenzie as the clock stops at 32 seconds. And once the Saints throw this ball in, they can give it a big boot down the field and try to run some clock. It's exactly what they do. Across midfield, Roosevelt is able to get it back. But there's Caturba getting his first touch. Caturba shoots it downfield. That ball rolls all the way down to the corner, and the seconds continue to run off the clock. We're down to 15 now. It hits the post. Last touched by St. Francis, apparently went out the sideline. And we're in the final 10 seconds here. Roosevelt try to get one final shot off. Doesn't look like they're going to have time to do it, as nobody will be able to chase this ball down, and the game comes to a close. St. Francis, a dominant showing today. They scored in the first 4 minutes and never looked back on their way to a 5-0 victory over the Lakers of Roosevelt. A nice game all around for the Saints today. The offense certainly got hot right away and played well all the way through. The defense was stout the entire way in the shutout victory. And of course, Carlos Ferrer-Cotto stepped up and made a couple of nice saves as well, as he's able to pick up the shutout, which is always nice to notch on the old stat sheet for the goalkeeper. But this one was not very close after the first couple of minutes. Malik Rashid scored in the 4th minute to make it 1-0. For Malik Rashid, that was the second goal of the year, and it proved to be the game winner. He's the only goal scorer today who was held to just one goal. 2 other guys scored 2 apiece. But it was Rashid that essentially was the end of the game, because his goal in the 4th minute was all that St. Francis ended up needing in this one. They got a lot more, but they didn't need any more after their defense stepped up and didn't allow anything the rest of the game. The other goal scorers today were Zakhar Shkichenko for St. Francis. He scored just about 4 minutes later. It was in the 7th minute. Actually, it was about 3 minutes later in the 7th minute. Malik Rashid assisted Zakhar Shkichenko, who scored his first goal of the season. That made it 2-0. And it was 2-0 just 7 minutes in, so it felt like a runaway was on, and that's exactly what happened. Though they went another 30 minutes without scoring, Roosevelt's defense stepped up pretty well after that. Amin Mizyed ended up scoring off an assist from Zakhar Shkichenko in the 37th minute. It was 3-0 at halftime, and then the second half got off to a slow start, and that was just fine with St. Francis because they already had the 3-goal lead, feeling confident in being able to pull away to the victory, but they added a few more for good measure. In the 72nd minute, Zakhar Shkichenko, off a beautiful assist from Anthony Marmolejo, made it 4-0. And then in the 86th minute, Hunter Foos made a very nice pass to set up Amin Mizyed for Mizyed's second goal of the game. That made it 5-0. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto in the shutout was able to make 6 saves. Mario Graciano made 5 saves, but also allowed those 5 goals. St. Francis overall outshot Roosevelt today 17-9. And that includes shots on goal, an advantage of 11-5. With the win, the Saints improved to 4-2-2 on the season. They are now 3-2-1 in conference play. Roosevelt falls to 0-3, both overall and in the CCAC. Again, our final score today, St. Francis 5, Roosevelt nothing. That's going to do it for our broadcast today. Head over to GoFightingSaints.com. As always, for all of your St. Francis soccer updates, as well as your updates for all of St. Francis's other sports, including women's soccer. We'll be on the air with them at 2 o'clock tomorrow against Roosevelt. But that's it for today's broadcast. Again, the Saints victorious 5-0. Until next time, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off from Joliet. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.